in listen-only mode.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the webinar on this June 18th, 2014. I appreciate everybody for stopping in and stopping by. My name is Steve Richards, and today you're going to learn how to take your passion and turn it into a career in the sports world. I'm excited about tonight. I'm Steve Richards, like I said. Mike Rudd is going to be our presenter tonight. He's going to be bringing you the best information possible, and you're going to get the maximum amount of value you can out of this next hour. So I'm excited to get rolling. Before we get started, I just want to make sure everything's working out and everybody's hearing me okay, so they can be able to hear Mike and his valuable information okay. So we're going to type into the chat box, and that way we're going to make sure the chat box is working, and I'm going to make sure that everybody's hearing me okay, and we're going to find out where everybody's from at once. So when you just go ahead and type into the chat box your name and where you're from, so we can make sure that all that stuff is working. And I will be checking that out just to make sure that things are coming in here and seeing that people are being productive and we got an interactive audience. And it looks like we do. We already have people coming in with Andy from San Diego, Denise from Northern California, Gerardo from Los Angeles. There's a couple Californias right off the bat. Christian, he's a Colombian in Miami. Thanks for joining us. Sam Casey from San Antonio. We got Dave from Pittsburgh. Payman from Vancouver. And Paul from Toronto. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys chiming in and letting me know that you can hear me okay. And let me know that the chat box is working okay. The reason that we want the chat box to be working is because we will definitely be answering questions at the end of this webinar after Mike goes through his whole spiel and helps you out and helps you figure out how to turn your passion into your career. We're going to be answering any questions that you guys might have about the information that Mike's going to cover today. So go ahead and type those in the chat box at the end, or even just type them in the chat box as the questions come, because I'll be, as the facilitator, it's my job to be monitoring these questions as we go along and saving the good ones and being able to ask them at the end of the webinar. So even as a question pops into your head, go ahead and ask it, and I'll be saving it and making sure that we get it answered at the end of the webinar, because I'll be monitoring everything throughout this webinar in the chat box. And I am happy to announce that we will have a replay. I did remember to hit the record button before we started, so good for me.
Good job, Steve.
As long as GoToWebinar does the recording. We've had a couple issues in the past, but as long as GoToWebinar does the recording and does it well, then we will be offering a replay. So make sure to watch out for that email. That'll be coming out sometime tomorrow when our webinar replay comes up. So a little bit of introduction here. I've been talking for a while. My name's Steve Richards. I said that a couple times. I'm actually the COO of Sports Networker, the wonderful organization that has decided to hold this webinar with Mike. And I'm excited for tonight. I started as an intern a couple years ago with Sports Networker, and I've now kind of risen my way up through the ranks, and I've just stuck with it and continued to move up, and now I'm the COO and kind of running this internet company for what it is. And I'm also the COO of the Sports Executives Association as well. So any questions that you have for Sports Networker or the Sports Executives Association, go to me, and I do my best to answer them as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then talking about turning a passion into career, I've also started with my blog, sports blog. I'm a sports journalist by trade. I went to Penn State and graduated with a sports journalism degree. I started a blog at StephenRichards.net, so you can go ahead and check me out there if you'd like. And I've also run a podcast. It's called the Primetime Fantasy Football Podcast. It covers fantasy football. We haven't gotten too deep into it yet. Obviously, it's not the prime of fantasy season, but you can check us out at nextlevelradioonline.com, and we'll be doing that as football season comes closer and ramps up as well. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our presenter, Mike Rudd, as well. And you talk about turning a passion into a career. This guy was passionate about hot dogs, and he used it to put himself through college. So just through sales and taking his passion and intensity about not only hot dogs but also sales, and using it to propel him through college and many successful years afterwards. So he's definitely a very successful sales expert, and he's ready to share the secrets from his ebook with you for free in the next hour, so that you can take your passion, whatever it may be, in any walk of life, really, and you can turn it into a career into the sports industry. and I'll stop talking so that Mike can start talking because he's the expert. So, Mike, go ahead and take it away and tell us how we can turn our passion into career in the sports world.
Steve, you're the man. Thank you for the intro.
Absolutely.
You're an expert as well. So let's not dog ourselves. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. I will jump right in. Steve covered it, but tonight we're going to go over take a passion and turn it into a dream sports career. And this is presented by Marketing Fun with Mike, aka myself, Mike Rudd. The reason I'm going to be covering, as Steve hit on a little bit earlier, about turning it from a dream into a career is it's something that I did and it's something that I care very much about and something that I believe every single person can because I believe every single one of us has what I call a hot dog stand in their lives, and that's a passion or calling of something that you love in your life, and it's inside every single one of us, but oftentimes it just sits dormant, and there's a way to turn that from a passion to something that we talk about into a career. So that's what we're going to go over tonight. Because as I just hit on, every single one of us has passions, but too often they hang out on the sidelines. Too often it's just a Sunday afternoon conversation. Well, wouldn't it be great if I got to do this? Or, I'll tell you what, if I ever won the lottery, this is probably what I would do. And instead of working at these passions and trying to figure out how to turn them into a career, we work away at something that we don't really care for. And there's always a reason for why we're stuck in the mud with it. There's always an excuse, whether it's college debt or credit card debt, or we don't live in the city where they're doing the hiring, or you can go through the list. We all have. But instead of being stuck in the mud with that, a long time ago I decided I wanted to do something about that and turn my passion into a career. And that's what I did. And tonight, I'm going to take you through the steps that I've written about in my book and other people who have gone through my passion coaching program that have done it for themselves and found their passion as well. So here we go. What's in it for you if you try it out? Well, you're going to get the opportunity to do something each and every day that you believe in and care about. That's where the hot dog stand thing all started for me. Was I was working on this hot dog stand, and I loved what I did. It was a fun job. I enjoyed each and every day interacting with people, talking to people. I sold them on Ohio State University's campus, 8 a.m. to like 4 p.m., and then I went to the business school at night. And I realized right then and there when I was doing this was I don't have to go get a job when I graduate that I don't enjoy. I do this every single day and I really love it. I can continue that when I graduate. So that's when I started thinking about what am I passionate about? What do I really care about that I can turn into a career? And the hot dog stand was my launching point for that. You have the opportunity to make this world a better place and truly leave your stamp on it. And that's something you can't do if you toil away doing something that you don't believe in and you don't care about. You wind up getting stuck in the mud, becoming a cog in the machine when you are truly unique. You have a special story that separates you from every single other person in the world. What do you have to lose? What's holding you back? I know there's a lot of things that we can count on, but there's little steps you can take each and every day to get the wheels going in motion. It's not something you wake up one day and you snap your fingers and you say, all right, this is the day I'm going to quit this job and start a successful career doing this. It's small action steps. It's forward progress each and every day. It can take as little as 3 weeks, or it could take as long as 3 years. But none of it can happen if you don't take that first step. Like I said, I figured this all out from working at a hot dog stand. And if I can figure it out from selling $1.50 all beef hot dogs, you can do it in whatever career you're in right now, doing whatever industry that you're in right now, in whatever position you're in right now. because it doesn't get any colder and far away from your passion than 5 degrees in Ohio at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday winter day, serving $1.50 hot dogs, waiting for that grill to heat up. It doesn't. Actually, Steve, you know what? You went to Penn State. I've been to Happy Valley. It's probably colder there.
Yeah, it's pretty cold up in those mountains.
So, my book, I have two books, and the first one was Hot Dogs, a Little Marketing, a Lot of Fun, and that's a book that teaches you and helps you thrive in your career and tells my story and tips for you and how to take it. And my second book takes it a step further, and it's called When Can I Catch Up and Find My Hot Dog Stand? And it's a 10-step program that will help you turn a passion into a career that you love in the sports world specifically. And we're going to go over these 10 steps right now in a little bit summary, not as much detail as my book. But the overall point is it's not just a revelation, it's a program. There's a process to being able to do this. So when can you catch up and find your passion, turn it into a career? Get up in front of people with the excitement that I have right there at one of my recent speaking opportunities right now. You can do it right now. So let's jump in. Number one, grab that mindset that you can do it. It all starts with having the right mindset. What's the right mindset? Well, let's start off with what the wrong mindset is. When you're saying things like, only bad thing about my vacation was it's over, back to the grind. Or, hey, doing whatever I can to keep my head above water, it's not bad for a Monday. That is the mindset of, I'm here, I'm stuck here, I'm not getting out of it, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing something I enjoy. If you program that mindset to a different side and say, soggy hot dogs no more. No more is it going to be like this. They're going to be tasty, they're going to be hot, and I'm going to do something that I love each and every day. I have decided today, going forward, that I'm going to unlock my passion and motivation for my career because I want to find something in my life that I love so much that I jump out of bed each day because I actually enjoy what I do. That is having the mindset that I can have this life. It's that moment when you realize you don't have to do something 5 days a week, all day long, that you don't enjoy just to make a little bit of money. And that's the starting point for finding your passion. I firmly believe that each and every one of us has a passion in their lives that not only can they recognize the passion, but turn it into a career. Step number 2, cocktail weenies. They are passions that make a difference in your life. What do I mean by this? Well, you have to be able to recognize, okay, here's a list of passions that I have in my life. It's not just one, it's not just two. There's probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things that we can think about that we really, really enjoy. But the first steps towards discovering that passion is, can I turn it into something that is going to be able to make me some money? And can I turn it into something that is going to help somebody by delivering value? There are possible interests and ways in which you could make a living off of them. What some types of questions that you could ask yourself to start figuring out what these cocktail weenies are? What companies do you believe in? What concepts or programs are you a fan of right now? Start writing out a list of industries and careers that may tickle your fancy a bit and ensure that if I got into this industry and this career right now, I wouldn't be running out of my job like Fred Flintstone at 5 p.m. every single day. Let me help a little bit. Craft beers. Love craft beers, especially India Pale Ales, IPAs. Okay? I believe in the process and the culture behind it. Now, I could make a list for this one cocktail weenie of IPAs, and I could work in a brewery in marketing, in sales, in operations, or accounting, depending on my business background. I could create my own startup brewery that features the best IPA known to man. I could start a blog and a website taste testing the best IPAs and rating them. I could start an order club where you get a custom six pack delivered to your doorstep each month of my favorite selections. I could work at a beer distributor in the sales division. I could take people on brewery tours across the state of Ohio that produce the best IPAs. I could write for a magazine in the beverage review section. You see where I'm getting at here? There's so many things that we can do if we unlock our imaginations and let our creativity run wild. So start there with a few passions and start listing out, what can I do with one of these? Step number 3, you got to start talking to people. You got to start listening to them, and you have to start brainstorming with others. If it's something that you really care about, something you really believe in, you're going to want to talk about it all the time to anybody that will listen, and vice versa. You should be excited about talking to other people, listening to them about things that are going to get them fired up for their lives. But the more you talk to people and tell them about what you're thinking, the more ideas you're going to get, the more things that are going to come to light. My book ideas, the podcast I do, the name of my company, the whole metaphor for what my business is based behind, about the hot dog stand being a metaphor for a passion or calling in your life, it all started with a conversation with someone. I didn't just sit in my room by myself in solitary and think up all of these things. So your third step, once you start listing out these passions and coming up with some ideas, start talking to people. For instance, the IPAs, to go back to that example, some people would probably point out to me, you probably shouldn't do the beer tour across the state of Ohio because you're going to have to buy a vehicle that's big enough to transport people. To really pay for the gas on that, it's going to cost so much overhead, and the tours are going to be so expensive that people might not see enough value in them. Then they may tell me, I'll tell you what, that order club, though, that's a really good idea. You know what else you could do with that order club? And then the conversation just starts flowing, and you start getting new ideas. And you start brainstorming. So chit chat, listen in, and brainstorm with others. I came up with this. This is part of my social media marketing strategy on Marketing Fun with Mike. I do a not as easy as ketchup or mustard question of the week. And there's the little hot dog and the ketchup man as the devil and the angel on your shoulders, and I ask a different question each week. Last week I did playing off of the Spurs with LeBron cramping and the weird rattlesnake that LaMarcus Aldridge, I believe, found in the Portland Trail Blazers locker room. It's just a fun question. But I don't come up with social media posts like that and concepts like that, hanging out, not telling anybody about any ideas. I mean, these come from my friends and family and people that I meet all the time, and I just throw ideas back and forth. And what starts as a concept and what starts as an idea or just a passion slowly turns into an entire marketing strategy.
Yeah, this is great, Mike. The people on the webinar, they're talking sports all the time anyway, right? So they're pretty much chit chatting and doing all the talking about sports anyway. So you might as well find an idea and turn it into a career. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the whole point is, it's just, it's one thing to say, like, I want to work into sports. How can I put my resume out there? Um, it's a whole different game, though, if you're like, okay, this is what I thought about wanting to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and here's my plan and my action steps that I'm going to take, because that's when you become organized, passionate, meticulous, and valuable to an organization. Or there's always also starting your own thing, but
Absolutely.
yeah, you're talking about it all day long anyway. How can you make some creativity off of it? You and
Absolutely.
I always go back and forth on ideas all the time, and it helps.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go into step 4, And we got to make some money though. Let's be real. So it's math time. And math time is when you decide, okay, this is what I think I want to do. Does it pass the hot dog math test? And that's where you decide, yes, I know I'm passionate about it. Yes, I think it's something I could want to turn into a career. But hold on, how much money do I need to live off of each and every month? Am I supporting a family? Do I have debt? Do I want to travel? Do I want to buy a new car? There's a lot of things. Do I have 15 weddings this summer, like me, that requires a hotel room and a $75 check to all of your friends? The open bar kind of balances out with that.
Okay.
What is it that you're sitting there asking yourself? Okay, this is what I need to make. That's the first step in the hot dog math. The second step is, okay, this is how much money I could legitimately, based off of research that you're doing, thinking I could make this much money off of it. And if it doesn't pass that test, if your expenses are $5,000 a month and the career that you're thinking about, one of those cocktail weenies, that's a passion that you're thinking about flipping into a career, only makes you $3,700 a month, that is not viable. And that needs to be crushed or reevaluated, or you need to reevaluate your budget and your expenses and decide what is more important. But if it doesn't pass that math number, you can't go forward with it. And this is a mistake a lot of people make, I think, from time to time, because they get so wrapped up and so excited. But the bottom line, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you give back, how happy you want to make the rest of the world, how much of a better place, you still have to make a certain amount of money to sustain the life that you want to live. Step 5, research and dogs. R&D. It's R&D time. So you pass that math test, and not only do you have the mindset, not only did you find a cocktail weenie with some ideas that you think you could turn into a career, you talk to some friends about it, and you talk to your family members, you've gotten even better ideas, and you think you really have a full-off plan, and you did the math test, and lo and behold, it passes the test. Now it's time for some in-depth research about the industry, the career, and the position. Is there possibilities for me to start it where I live at right now? Is there opportunities to work remotely? Is it going to be a company that I need to work for? If it is, what is the name of that position, and how do I get in touch with somebody who may be able to hire me? Is it a startup that I'm going to run with 3 other people? If so, what kind of startup costs are we looking at? What kind of target market are we looking at reaching out? Do we have a web presence? Is it a brick and mortar? On and on and on. Now, that sounds like a lot and it would take years to do, but it's really not. When you're looking at a process, you have to take this seriously. You have to sit down and do the dirty work and decide, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is why. To go into a little bit of detail with Marketing Fun with Mike, my website and my company, it started off as a Tumblr blog, as a personal brand to separate myself from other radio sales reps out there in Central Ohio. I really started writing, I started getting some good feedback, and I decided, this is something I can really take to the next level, I think. But I had a very, very, very difficult time figuring out who I was going to reach and how I was going to reach them and what value I had for them. I kind of wanted to reach everybody and help everybody, which is great, except you can't write and train and help every single person all the time. You have to narrow down your niche, and that took a lot of research on my end. And I finally decided, okay, I think the best things that I can deliver to potential customers of mine at Marketing Fun with Mike: passion coaching, which is helping them find their hot dog stand; one-on-one sales training, because I've been doing sales my entire life, and I do it in a way that I think nobody else teaches in this world, and I can sit down with somebody one-on-one every single day on the phone or on Skype and help them get the results they need in their life. And that took a lot of time. That took, for me to formulate. But you need to do the same thing when you start going through that process. Step 6, after all that research, you need to take a little bit of a break. Now, this is not because I thoroughly endorse siestas, but the fact that you need to give it some time to resonate in your head. You need to sit back and say, okay, I think I'm really onto something, but let's think about it for a little bit. And it's not to overanalyze it or not turn it into an action immediately. Have you ever thought about, excuse me, been asked a question or made a irrational decision based on a gut reaction? I think a lot of people have done that. I've done it. When you get an email that's a little crass from somebody, or a text message, or somebody says something to you, now I take deep breaths. I let them roll off my shoulder. I think about them for 48 or 72 hours, and I almost always come up with a better reaction, a better plan, or a better answer after I give it that little break time to really think about it. And the point of this break is for you to come back in 48 hours, 1 week, 1 month, and say, okay, I thought about it. This is really it. This is really what I want to do. Because if you don't care about it as much, if you come back even in a week and are like, I think it's still probably it, think about how you're going to feel 10 years from now. And that is important. If you're as passionate and as into the idea after your break as you were before it, or even more so because you're just itching to get back into working on it, that's when you really know you found a hot dog stand.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, Mike. I mean, just because you want to make sure, like you said, make sure that you're enjoying it 10 years from now. Because,
Yeah, we
people
don't
go through phases and things like that. Just make sure it's your true passion.
exactly, and that's the thing. It takes patience, it takes understanding, and it takes commitment. So,
Right, but
all
once you
right,
find it, the reward.
yeah, absolutely, right on, Steve. 4 more here, everybody. Step 7: what value are you bringing? Your value statement, very important. Without value for the sports world, without value for a particular position, without in the sports world, without value for a particular business that you're going to start. If you don't have the value and you don't have an identifiable target market that you can help bring value, and that target market could be the company that you're planning to apply for and work for and the value delivered, you don't have anything to stand on. So you need to come up with, this is why I think I can do that. For myself, my value statement is I want to help people live the life they want and deserve. How can I bring that value to you? I believe I have an action step program to help you find your passion in life. I believe I have an action step training program to help you sell yourself in my sales training platform. Why should you trust me? Because I've helped other people through the program. I've been selling 100% commission sales since I was 19 years old. I've loved every day of it and I've thrived in it. That needs to be the type of value statements that you have in your head. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Mike, I haven't been in the sports world yet. I don't know what have you done in your life leading up to this that is important, that is valuable, and turn that into your value statement. And if you don't think you have done anything, there is something. And if you really haven't, then it's going to be hard to break in. So go start doing something right now that is going to gain that value and that credibility for you when you reach that point that you want to dive into it. Step number 8, and this is a big one. This is a big one. Lights, camera, action plan. You have to have a plan. I believe the quote goes, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. It is vital for you to have a list now. Okay, I've done the research. I found the cocktail weenie. I've done the math. It passes the math test. I've thought about it. I got my value statement. What do I need to do now? Is it 5 steps? Is it 10 steps? Is it 20 steps? I need to write out these steps and I need to start doing one. I recommend starting with 10 action steps of these are the next most immediate 10 things that I need to do to flip this from a passion into a career, and I need to start doing it. It might be redoing your LinkedIn profile to show more value and not just talk about accolades and awards that you've got. It might be starting a blog. It might be something as little as going to buy a nice shirt and tie for you to go on an interview or a nice dress. Whatever it is, come up with those 10 action steps. And then when you do one and one is done, cross it off and add another one and keep working on that play, that program, till you reach the point that you want to get to. Step 9, be ready to sell yourself. When I talk about my sales training program and what I do, the number one thing I tell people is the number one most important thing you can do in sales is to be yourself all the time. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm not really in sales, so I don't really give a crap about what Mike is talking about here. Wrong.
Yeah.
Every single one of us is in sales. We're selling ourselves every single day of our lives. The way we walk into a room and people see the frown or the smile on our face, we're selling ourselves. The way we shake somebody's hand, the way we return phone calls to our family and friends, the way in which we don't gripe on Facebook, but we just post positive things. All that is selling something. And we're all in sales. A teacher is in sales. You know what she is selling? She is selling education. A fireman, he is in sales. You know what he is selling? He is selling safety. Everybody is selling something, and we're selling ourselves for that. So be ready to be proud of what you want to represent and proud of the work you've done, and stand up for it and fight for it and go after it. That's what you have to do with that. And know that every single day is an opportunity for you to sell yourself. And it's not in a swarmy way or a sleazy way or in a fake way. It's just being yourself, being the wonderful, beautiful person that you are, letting your light shine through so that others can see how excited you are about this passion, how you want to turn it into a career, and that you're willing to do whatever it takes. That is selling yourself. Selling yourself that you're a go-getter, that you want to achieve, that you want to dedicate yourself, and going out and doing it. Finally, step 10, definitely the last step. It's not the end, though. It never stops. You always have to continue working on your plan. Once you get into this career, how do I get better in this career? How can I deliver more value? What else can I do to make the company or my clients or those teammates around me or my boss look even better? How can I help the world be a better place each and every day? And it goes by keep going through those action steps, keep working on everything over and over and over again. Now, that sounds like a lot of work, but why should you do it? Why should you take these steps? What's holding you back from doing something incredible with your life? That's the question I want to ask you. Why would you not want to? What do you have to lose? Why would you ever sit on the sidelines when you can get into the game and do something incredible? You can have fun and you can make money. doing it. You don't have to have one. You don't have to have fun and be poor or be miserable and make money. And by the way, if I would pick one, I'd rather have fun and be poor. But it doesn't have to be that way. If
Both
you do
and.
something that you're proud of, if you do something you believe in, you can have both. And there's nothing better than that. You'll smile more and you'll be happier each and every single day of your life. And I don't know who wouldn't want to do that a little bit more. You have the opportunity to leave a legacy in your life. You have the opportunity to do something that really, truly matters, that people are going to talk about after you're gone because of your work, because of your inspiration, because of your reputation, because of what you did, because you left this stamp on the world in your own way. Why would you not want to do that?
That's what it's all about.
So, where you go from here? Start working on these steps to find that dream sports job or dream sports career, dream sports business, whatever it may be. Don't put it on the back burner. Start coming up with an action plan tonight, tomorrow morning, and start working on it. Start making those lists and start going through everything to really make the forward motion go for where you want to go. Once you start doing that and you really start getting in it, I promise you will make more money, you will have more fun, and you will help others more than you ever have before in your career. Like I said, what do you have to lose? But don't just take my word for it. I want to tell you about a few people that have done this and it's helped them. I have, actually, it was my aunt. She was working for a law firm. She did not like where she was. She was helping me edit my first book, and we were talking about it. But she'd also been a food blogger for a number of years and really super excited and into the food world. Well, it came up for an opportunity for her to leave that law firm, and she was starting to think about going to another law firm, doing something she didn't really dig. And I said to her, why don't you try this process that, what you're editing right now for me? Give it a whirl. See where it goes. She now does social media for a company that was on Shark Tank that got funded by Mark Cuban and Barbara and is in the restaurant industry, so it couples with the food blog. And she met them because of her food blog, because she did an interview with them a week after they opened up 4 or 5 years before that. That's turning a passion into a career.
That's having
Uh,
fun and making money.
yeah, absolutely. She has a blast. And then I have a client of mine that graduated with me from Ohio State, communications, was working a Michael Bolton-esque office space type job, a place like Initech, and he said, Mike, I really want to start helping people a little bit more and doing something I really care about. He just graduated a few weeks ago with his nursing degree, and he texted me after I texted him congratulations on that, and he was like, you know what, a wise man once told me to chase down his hot dog stand in life, and I used those steps, and it worked. I had my another client. He went on my website and downloaded the book. This book is free if you sign up for my newsletter on my website. And he went through it, and he just got his real estate license. After leaving the military, he didn't really quite know where he wanted to go, and he put those steps into action, and he is going to be launching his own real estate company in the next couple of weeks. So those are just a few stories of people using these steps. Take them, give it a whirl. Like I said, what's the worst that can happen? So, a little motivation for you guys that I would like to put in front of you and make you think about. There's going to be obstacles. No matter what, keep following the path that you want in life. Don't settle before you reach the point. because you never know what's going to be around that corner. And this particular photo actually is a hike up to the arch that was the logo for the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. Right around that bend where you see that hiker is the coolest sand arch in the entire world. And they talk about how a lot of people give up because it's about 2 straight miles uphill to get there before then, but right around the corner it's just sitting there. So go after it, keep going.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in so far. We do have, before we do Q&A, Steve is going to walk you guys through the Sports Executive Association. We have a special webinar offer tonight. So Steve, if you want to take the screen back, show everybody what's cooking with the SEA and how they can sign up tonight and the special deal that we have for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the presentation and the handoff, Mike. It was great. Great intro. We love it. So yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and go ahead and put in the questions in the chat box. Like Mike said, we're gonna do the Q&A after this this quick explanation of the SEA and what it is. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat box, and Mike and I are gonna answer as many as we can possibly get to. So don't be shy. Anything that comes to mind, go ahead and throw it in there, and we'll answer all the questions we can. As far as the Sports Executives Association is concerned, I'm sure everybody has those cocktail weenies going through their mind and, and want to know exactly what their passion is and how to go out and get it. And Mike's definitely given us some great beginning steps. And what the SEA can do for you is it can just be that next step and the next thing that you can do to move forward and be proactive and going out and getting it, as Mike would say it. So we have all sorts of free stuff in here or bonus material stuff in here for our low price of $9.97 for the first month. That's going to happen with this webinar deal. You can see here we have these webinars and interviews. We actually put all of our webinars and the archives of our webinars into the Sports Executives Association. So if you love the 10 tips and you couldn't get enough of it, but you can't quite remember number 5 or number 6 or whatever number it is, you can just go ahead and jump in here into these webinar archives, and we have everything linked up in the webinars in the past, all linked up to so you'll never forget. You can always have that resource, and you can come back to us and see all the webinars in the past that we've done. You can see we also have bonus materials. These are all PDF books that'll help you figure out how to get forward and get noticed, whether it be a cover letter or your resume or in your interview. Or we have our Ultimate Sports Job Guide in here that normally costs $17 a month, and all these ebooks usually cost. But as a member of the Sports Executives Association, you get all that stuff as your free bonus material. If I go ahead and click into the bonuses, you'll see right at the top is our presenter right here, Marketing Fun with Mike. He was just talking about somebody read his ebook and they took the advice to heart that he gave, and they're now successful with the nursing career. And Mike's aunt, and this is just another extension of that. This isn't the free ebook, but it is for you if you sign up for the SEA. This is part of the bonuses that you'll get. So this is all surrounding sports sales, and like Mike said, everybody's in sales. We're all selling ourselves and why we should be the next big thing in the sports industry. And Mike goes through 10 steps here in this simple and easy to follow PDF book that's really valuable, and it's really something that you can add value, and it's something that is worth the $9.97 by itself. And speaking of worth the $9.97 all by itself, this networking ability is really where the nuts and bolts is. We have a SEA members only Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. We have an SEA members only LinkedIn group. So whether you're somebody looking to hire or you're somebody that's looking to get hired, either way, you're going to be able to find employers and employees in our members only Facebook groups and our members only LinkedIn groups. There's people active in here and people wanting to find jobs and people wanting to hire. So this is a really great place to network. That's what we're all about at Sports Networker. And this is just an extension of that, and a really exclusive group with great people. We have Q&A. All of our Q&A guests are in here. We've done Q&As with the former general manager of the Denver Broncos and Q&As with Tiki Barber, and those guys are in here, and they want to talk to you and they want to give you advice and tips and tricks on how they made it in the sports industry and how you can do exactly the same and make it in your sports industry. So there's really all sorts of great stuff in here. Our members, as a member, you'll also be able to cater to what we talk about on the webinars. We always ask our members what's going on and what you want to hear about. So as a member, you'll be able to tell us what you want next month's webinar will be about. We do a webinar every month, and we survey our members, and they tell us what they want, what we want us to talk about, and we go ahead and create a slide deck and start talking about it. So it's really there's all sorts of value in here, and the $9.97 really is a floor price, and it's not even, you don't even have to blink an eye. You could spend very little time in here and get your money back for sure, for the membership site, and that's an understatement. So
Yeah, even with
that's kind of the
with
quick
the
quick go around.
yeah, no, Steve, that's great. I was just gonna say too. I mean, with the a couple of things. One, if you are a member of the SCA, thank you. Let us know what you need help with. Steve and I are readily available. I check that LinkedIn group all the time. You can tell us in there. Let's start a discussion about it. I'll be happy to cover as well as I can the next month's webinar. You can always email myself or Steve. And 10 bucks the first month, 30 bucks a month after that. While you can cancel anytime, 30 bucks a month. The webinars that I do on my own cost over $30 to register for them. And if you spend 1 hour a day in the SEA downloading these content, looking at these stuff and taking actionable steps from each piece of material and training and coming up with a program and then networking and tuning into the webinar each month, you're getting 10 times the value back in that. But you have to do that. You have to get in, you have to talk to people, and you have to take the material and take action steps from it.
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to go to where we can where you guys can find this. Um, Hold on, webinar.
Actually, Steve, if you want to hand it back over to me, I can pull it up
Oh, do
over
you
the
have it up?
slide.
Okay, perfect. Hold on,
Yeah,
let me hand it back to you.
just hand the.
Let me hand you back and make you the presenter.
There we go. So here's what we have here tonight, everybody, is,
Oh, perfect.
like Steve said, it's sportsexec.net/deal. It's $9.97 for the first 30 days, and then after that, it's $27 a month. You can cancel anytime. The big thing, I mean, honestly, the webinar each and every month will be covering different topics each and every time. The networking, and then you downloading, reading, watching the training, and then not just reading and watch. We could all read a million books, but taking action from it and turning it into something that really grows. And tonight, I'm also going to throw in a 1 hour consulting session on Skype with me if you sign up for the SCA on helping you brainstorm on these action steps that we covered tonight for turning a passion into a career.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even know Mike was going to do that. So value add.
Value added. There you go. No, it's something, I like to get to know people who just join. I think everybody who's currently in the SCA knows I'm readily available. If you don't think so, you can email me. I'm always returning emails, always willing to dig in a little deeper. But sportsexec.net/deal. Get in there, start digging in, and that's about it. We'd love to see you in there. There's value in there, and go after it. So, Steve, you want to jump into the Q&A, and I'll leave
Yeah,
this open
awesome.
for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like we have about 10 minutes left for Q&A. We only have a couple questions asked so far, so I don't know if we'll fill the time, or if you have a question, please don't be afraid to ask it so that we can fill our time, our remaining 10 minutes here, for sure. So, but we'll get started with the questions, and then while we're answering questions, go ahead and continue with the asking of the questions, and Mike and I will definitely answer the questions as well as we possibly can. And our first question from Gerardo Perez goes, what should we expect in terms of starting to make money after taking this big step? So what I'm hearing Gerardo say is that he's wondering how long maybe it'll take before he starts to see some return which could be a difficult question to answer, but there might be.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, it really depends on your circumstance and what you want to do. You know, without knowing what you want to turn that passion into, it's kind of a hard question for me to answer if you want to type in a little bit more information. But I mean, it could be anywhere from a week to a year. I mean, but do you want to be in sports sponsorships? Do you want to be in sports sales? Do you want to launch your own sports agency? Do you want to do accounting? There's a lot of different angles on what you could do, and depending on the length and time that it takes you to find that job and land that job or start your own business. I mean, I ideally in the short term it would be quicker probably to actually land a job with a different company than it would be to start your own company. Somebody who started a company myself, it's a grind. You take it day by day, and but if you'd like to dig in a little bit more with Steve, I'd be happy to dig in if possible.
Here we go, Gerardo. He's actually answered already. He said basically sports agency representing sports brands and athletes. So looks like he's looking to jump into the sports agent world.
Okay. I would say you would start making money as soon as you sign a client on. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
whether that's you probably what I would my advice is, do you want to start your own or do you want to go work for one? Going through the hot dog math, going through those steps that we just talked about, that'll help you determine which one. You don't have to answer that right now, but then it's coming through the process of which one do I want to do? Okay, what type of brands or athletes do I think I have the ability to sign? What agencies would see the value that I'm offering? What value am I offering right now? And start going through those steps and start coming up with a formulated plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you mentioned sponsorships, licensing. It sounds pretty much the same. Um, and he said, "Should I bring a client before starting?" Essentially asking the chicken or the egg question.
Yeah, so you mean signing somebody on before you
Yeah, maybe
start going?
have a commitment before walking in the door. That should work.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, if you have, but I mean, it all goes back to value. If you if you have what you can, if you can promise somebody something and over deliver on that by 10 times, and you're confident that you can do that, do it. If you think that that's going to leverage you a job and you can't promise that client what they're going to get out of it, I would advise not doing it at all.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Your
make sure you
reputation, your
deliver.
reputation's on the line there.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt. Perfect. Yeah, the next one comes from Sean Burke. Here's a simple question for you. How long did it take for you to unlock your passion?
Mine was well, I guess 19 years, man. No. uh, to be quite honest with you, when I was really starting to think about it, it was working at the hot dog stand in my junior year of college, and I was starting to interview for internships. And I was interviewing with major companies in like entry level marketing and sales positions, and they just seemed pretty boring. And so this was probably going on for about a month to 2 months in like January and February. And one day I'm pushing the hot dog cart back in. I'm thinking to myself, oh man, this was a great day as always out here. And I thought, why can't it be like this every single day? Why would I want to go do an internship at some place? And then I thought, well, maybe I can apply for an internship at a place that I actually like. And I know this sounds like a, you know, apple hitting you under sitting underneath the tree type moment. But when we were cleaning up that day, now this is so keep this in mind. And this is a 2 month process going through my head of I'm not really sure if I want to be working at these places this summer doing this. And as I'm sitting there, the radio station that is playing while we're cleaning up happens to be my favorite radio station at the time in the city. It's still an awesome radio station. It's locally owned. It's independent music. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to go work at the time it was called CD 101 and do marketing there? So I went home. I looked it up. They had internships. I applied for an internship. I got an internship. And then from there, I started really enjoying the radio and sales and marketing world, and that's what I've been doing since then. So that's kind of how the process worked for me. But it went home. I went home, during this couple months, and I was writing out like, all right, what else do I like? What else do I like in life? Music, and that's actually how I made the transition to my next to work on the sports talk radio station that I'm at now. Was when I was leaving a music station like 6 years ago. I thought, well, what else do I like? And I started going through the process, and that's how I came about my next position.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess to answer Sean's quick question, in the short term, it can hit you at any time.
Yeah,
Nice. So yeah, I mean, not everything's a question. Andy Wilhelm wants to tell us that it was a great webinar, and thank you. Well, thank you for being on, Andy. We always appreciate the positive feedback there.
yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And yeah, so our next question comes from Brandon. He's telling us that he's looking to get an internship with an NFL team. He preferably wants one to put him on track to become a scout in hope of eventually becoming a GM. So sounds like he's got the long-term plan laid out already. So is there any advice on getting that first step into the door? So it sounds like he might have that cocktail weenie already, but he's looking to get
Yeah,
that first step there.
you know. Well, first of all, I think you need to be willing, I guess, at this point, because a lot of people want that. Yeah, you'd have to be willing to go anywhere,
Sure.
any team for probably what's going to be an unpaid internship. Uh, a different model plan, can you get a internship first at a arena league or somewhere else within the football industry? Can you have some expertise on scouting high school teams to come up with a portfolio to show NFL managers the value that you already are bringing to helping these high school teams or lower level college teams for free? Um, Writing a blog on your own scouting reports, going on and on. There's a lot of different things you can do with that. I don't know if you guys can hear that through the mic, but it is thundering and storming here.
Yeah, we
So
hear
okay, if I
it.
get if I get cut off, it's I still love you guys, but the power is out of the Rudd household. Um, but so that would be my advice is what kind of value can you bring up front to separate yourself from every single other person that's the stack of resumes? Who do you know? Do you know somebody who knows somebody who might be able to lend you a door or a connection with that? Are you willing? The more flexible you are, and the more value you're bringing up front, though, would be my best suggestions and tips.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Um, yeah, we got some more positive feedback from Sam. He said thanks. Really enjoyed it, especially step 7 in creating a value statement. So as long as we can create that one nugget for you, Sam, we appreciate you joining us. That's good.
Absolutely. If you can take one thing from every book you read, every webinar you look at, every article you read, one thing that's what it's all about.
For sure, absolutely. That'll create the value for you. Looks like we have about 1 minute left. There's a couple questions, but I have one here from David. Um, he's asking how to use social media to expand your brand. So he's looking to get up in the social media world and get noticed that way.
I think the biggest thing is come up with a true to yourself social media marketing strategy. What kind of value and fun can you have on there? How can you network with people? LinkedIn, get into some groups for the position or industry that you want to be in and start networking with people. And that doesn't mean starting a blog and then posting your blog and telling people to read your blog. That means taking the time to introduce yourself to other members and offering comments and suggestions and thoughts when they post other stuff. Give, and then The more you give, the more you'll eventually receive. For LinkedIn, Twitter, same thing. I'd be searching for hashtags that you're interested in, companies that you'd like to work for, industries that you'd like to be involved with, and just start putting your own simple touch on that and start expanding your base that way. Facebook, I don't really know. It just seems like a lot of people posting photos of what they ate for lunch. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, one thing, closed groups on Facebook can really have some good opportunities.
Absolutely.
So,
Awesome. And then
well,
yeah, David, we have a whole nother a webinar on social media. That's Mike went over a couple quick answers, but there's a whole hour long webinar we have in the it's actually in the archives of the SEA. So
yeah,
and
I think I've even done one of them too.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So yeah, we had more questions, but again, please, we have a private group on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're always open to answering questions. And if it's in the form of a webinar, then it is, or maybe we can just give you guys a quick answer. So in that SEA, there's always that networking opportunity to continue to ask these questions that you guys have been asking at an awesome rate in this webinar, and we really appreciate the interaction as well.
Steve, thanks for doing this with us tonight. I had a great time. All current members of the SEA, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. All possible members, the deal's right there at sportsexec.net/deal. When you sign up, make sure you email me, and we can schedule over the next couple of weeks our 1 hour Skype session.
Absolutely, sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Bye bye.